And then part B, what is the pricing strategy for the SoundSword Blue earphone if an organization were to market the product? So if an organization were to market the SoundSword Blue earphone, how much would they sell it for? So what we need here is we need to find out what the X1, X2, and X3 is for the SoundSword Blue earphone. Okay, so we need to find out X1, X2, and X3 for the SoundSword Blue earphone, and then we substitute those values into the equation to solve for Y, to solve for the price. So to find out the price for the SoundSword Blue earphone, what we're going to do is we're going to first copy the coefficient onto the first page. So we're going to copy those coefficient here. And then what we're going to do next is we need to find out the X1, X2, and X3 for the SoundSword Blue earphone. And how we're going to do that is we're going to use equal average. We need to, because we have the data for the SoundSword Blue earphone for the sound clarity, 3D feel, and the bass note. What we're going to do is we're going to take the average scores for each category. So we're going to take the average score for the sound clarity. We're going to take this average score for the 3D feel, and then we're going to take the average score for the bass note. So once we have those becomes our X1, X2, X3 for the SoundSword Blue earphone. And what we're going to do is we're going to put those values into the equation. And then what we're going to do is we're going to times it by the slope. So for each X variable, for each of the score for X1, we're going to times it by the slope. X2, same thing. X2, we times it by slope 2. Same for X3. X3, we times it by slope 3. And then we add the coefficient in, and then that will give you the $64.51. So basically, from a statistics perspective, if we were to market the product, we should price it at $64.51. And that's your answer for part B. So part C, what proportion of variation in price is explained by the variation in sound clarity, 3D feel, and sound range. So again, what we're looking at here is the proportion of variation that is in Y, that is explained by the variation in your X. So this is your R square. So when we look at the R square from the Excel file, we can see that the R square is 28.7%. And that's your answer for part C. Okay, so the model explained 28.7%. So the model explained 28.7%. And then for part D, what proportion of the total variation is in price is explained by the variation in sound clarity, 3D feel, and sound range, taking into account the sample size and the number of independent variable. So this is your adjusted R square. This is your adjusted R square. And adjusted R square, this is just the definition of adjusted R square. And what it does is that it takes into account the sample size, which is your N, and your K. Okay, so we're looking at the adjusted R square. So adjusted R square from the regression is basically your part D, which is the 20%, 20.05%. And that's your part B. Adjusted part D there, adjusted R square, 20.5%.